resource-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. So immediately we hit dead center in the course of education and what we need to do to chart the way forward to produce 21st century globally competitive human resource. And it's a big statement for a small country, but however, it doesn't only affect Botswana because we're in the digital age. And we'll talk more about digital migrants versus digital natives and how we need to cope as educators and learners and our role in trying to to basically assist governments, various government bodies across the world in improving the teaching and learning process through educational technology. So with the mission basically is to achieve learner success, educator success, and there are various ways that we go about doing that. Center to all of this is a methodology that we follow, and I'll share with you shortly through my presentation. But I must share our values. Ladies and gentlemen, the journey of being involved in education is a very sensitive and very profound role. And, you know, it's so dear to us that you need to be committed. You need to have values to keep on pushing on. I cannot tell you how many times I looked up in this journey that I'm about to share with you and wanted to give up because there are so many competing priorities. E-learning, as you talk about it, digital or education technology always seems to be a nice to have in the competing priorities you have in education. Teacher housing, teacher remuneration, you know, student performance, student conduct, what you're facing in the classroom, what are teachers facing in the classroom, what the school head is facing. So many challenges. And of course, the big one, MEC budget, that we all cry about, not just the teachers, but also the administrators and the various inspectorates who are charged to look after all these schools. But in short, you need a very strong value system in order to make things happen and change. Our company was incorporated on the 5th of January 2005. We are about 19 years plus old. And of those 19 years, we have 16 years under our belt specializing in education technology solutions. We are an ICT distributor. We also have a workshop license to repair and maintain computer devices, equipment, and accessories. We've also recently achieved a milestone of setting up a computer assembly plant and classified as a manufacturer. We are also a training institution, this Empire Tech, and we are registered under Botswana Qualifications Authority as an accredited training institution. I believe there's SACE here in South Africa and the various accreditation bodies that exist within the schooling system. SACE for the educators, I believe. So I'll just skip this one. It's just some of the accreditations. This is our client portfolio, which is quite vast. I talked about the computer assembly plant, and really why I'm mentioning this is there was a lot of delivery and talk for the speakers prior to me, talking about the need of how do you deploy large-scale technology, or rather numbers of devices, into classrooms, giving it to the hands of students and teachers and maintaining them at the same time. Most of the time, you don't have the ability to put in place a service level agreement or with a service provider that provides those devices with a comprehensive service level agreement that can maintain them and create sustainability for that project. And really, I think that's where we come to play, and it's a big milestone that we have set up this assembly plant. Not only do we produce educational technology in this plant, devices, laptops for teachers, specifically for teachers and learners, but we also maintain them. And it is through my visit here in Eastern Cape, one of my aims and goals is actually to set up business here and create a plant that can support the education side of this province. These are just pictures of the plant when we were setting it up. But let me shoot right straight into it. So on your left and right, we talk about our digital transformation, education digital transformation ecosystem. You'll see anchoring everything, or rather closing in the ecosystem of devices, software, connectivity, is the services. And that's what really, I believe, makes us stand apart from the rest. We do ICT consulting, installations, technical support, technology, inventory audits, content creation training, custom design and branding of devices. Unfortunately, I didn't come up to the podium with that, but we recently did a project for Botswana where we deployed we got a large share of a procurement by government through the Universal Service Access Fund of about 26,000 units of student devices, custom made, bespoke, custom branded with the Ministry of Education and Skills Development, teacher and learner devices from there. So we are able to design also, as Mr. Mokhorusi, I believe, pointed out, it's not only the device that you come and dump at the school and leave it unattended. We supply those devices with inbuilt content in them, tracking and the ability to track them and trace them where they are. For teachers specifically, I believe that telcos are here as well, where I believe for some time now they've been offering specifically for education, zero-rated internet connectivity for websites or content that are education specific. So training, capacity building, we've trained well over 1,000 teachers in Botswana and still counting, probably more by now. I haven't checked in with the training institution side, the head who's heading there, but literally we capacitate the teacher to be able to integrate technology into that teaching and learning process, even to author and create rich media digital content that's interactive and can be able to engage with the student or learner. So in our journey, this is a little highlight of it, but what stands out for us, in 2012 we signed a memorandum of understanding with our ministry in Botswana, Ministry of Education and Skills Development, and we did a proof of concept. Funnily enough, that proof of concept was kind of a prelude to what took place in Gauteng Department of Education and the rollout of that project there with the digital classroom or the paperless classroom. At the time, they used our findings and the research report we created from the proof of concept to actually, and the learnings that they got from Botswana, to be able to deploy the project in Gauteng, in the Gauteng region. We've got a number of partners that we work with, but they have specific milestones. For example, our manufacturer that we work with is based in Portugal. They're called JPIK. Those people revolutionized education because they were able to talk to the likes of Microsoft and actually start contributing by making Microsoft licenses more affordable for education. So we are blessed to have key players that we work with to not only transfer skills to us, but from us downwards to downstream to teachers and learners and the Ministry of Education. So 16 years ago, I talk about the journey, sharing our journey. We embarked on a journey to shift pedagogy, and it's been spoken about through the introduction of technology in the classroom. So if you move from, is it left to right? Primarily, you've got an environment where the teacher stands in front of the classroom and the kids are facing them. And they typically stand in front of a chalkboard or a whiteboard, traditionally at right, and it's primarily teacher-centered. And then what we've been trying to attempt is to introduce front-of-classroom technology like interactive whiteboards and capacitate the teacher with their own devices or laptops so that they can be able to deliver more interactive and engaging content to the learners. So the middle part, you would say, is the traditional transitional phase, as we're capacitating teachers first with the technology, and I emphasize that, capacitating the teacher first with the technology so that they can know it and be able to work in an ICT-enabled classroom. Otherwise, it just won't work if we give students devices and go ahead of the teacher. And then the final phase really is primarily what we're trying to achieve, a student-centered learning, where kids have devices, the teacher has their device and front-of-classroom technology that's interactive and collaborative, where they can even, at any point in time, she can check in real time of even if they're conducting assessments into a student's device and see how far they're faring with whatever task or activity that they've been given by the teacher. So we talk about pedagogy, but just to remind ourselves that the hope, there must be a purpose behind what you're trying to do. You can't be pushing technology into the schools and leaving equipment and devices unutilized. It's simply wasteful expenditure. And that's what pains me when people are given opportunities to deploy technology or contracted to deploy technology, and all they want to do is, we stand accused as service providers that we dump technology in schools and don't care whether it works for the school or not. And really, how we try and set ourselves apart is making sure that we move and shift that transition from shifting pedagogy from teacher-driven to be teacher-driven, but also student-centric. And pedagogy, of course, we all know, taken from the Greek word to lead the child. Mr. Stofile talked as well about earlier on that this technology that's being introduced to schools is not supposed to replace the teacher. It's supposed to empower the teacher first so that we can achieve what we set out to do. And I take lead from Reverend when you talked about having to know the times and what we ought to do. And it's really encouraging that this set the tone for the conference. And, we talk about best practices, and it's so important. I'm so glad because in my country, the IT department seems to want to lead. And that's not the case. I'm so happy, from the heads of departments and the leadership of Eastern Cape Education, that curriculum is at the forefront of what needs to happen. It's not going to work. And hence, if you look at this diagram, we need to look at what we do. We work through a methodology. And we always, it's funnily enough that even at private schools, no one wants to dedicate this time. We take more time trying to understand the client and doing a full comprehensive understanding before we give you product. Understanding how many teachers do you need to train? What subjects are you doing? Because it shouldn't be subject specific. It's something that needs to fit in your curriculum program, and that the teachers are able to integrate this technology into the curriculum delivery, lesson plans and the like, so that there's full benefit to both the teacher and the learner. But in any case, our model is quite simple. Take the teaching practices, give the right software, and then put in the hardware. It will result in success and outcomes. And really, that's what I would say. Some would relate to this, the Bradlow's difference. You say that to someone nowadays, it's like, what are you saying? But yeah. This is just a picture of the Memorandum of Understanding. I was a younger gentleman back then. It was signed in 2012, and that's our permanent secretary for Ministry of Education and Skills Development. A PS, as we call it, is the equivalent of a DG in Botswana terms. And, you know, just a little highlight of the proof of concept where we had before the project and after the project, where teachers literally teaching on the chalkboard. I used to find teachers taking and putting that chalk into their pocket so that they save it for tomorrow. Now, in a digital classroom, it's digital ink. It's endless. Even that pen or stylus that you're given, should you lose it, you can use your finger and start writing. You know, the intuitiveness of the technology that we are introducing into the classroom is something that should have total benefit, and it must be meaningful. The other aspect I wanted to touch on in our proof of concept, we also did classrooms that were for what you'd call hearing impaired, students that were hearing impaired. And we were using the technology to try and engage them in a more meaningful way, despite being impaired. And we've also done work for Society for the Deaf and their various institutions of children. So it's all inclusive. Technology is supposed to bring us all together, leave no one behind. And of course, this is just a highlight of the proof of concept. I think this is when we were closing the proof of concept with all the delegates, the ministry, the teachers, the school heads, the administrators all coming together. And just a profile of what we did. We plowed in about 4 million pula coming from ourselves as a company. So that's why I keep on indicating to the values. You know, I've been accused of being a social entrepreneur, that I don't care about making money. I do. It's just when it comes to education and issues like health, it's a totally different ballgame. And you need a special character to carry you forward with that. These are just some of the projects we've done. We've worked with our telcos back at home, the British Council, and many others that we can talk about. Of particular interest, I picked up, it was noted, I forget, I get to mutilate your name now. Tsakedi. Tswakadi. You see, it's payback time. Sorry, Re Tswakadi. We say Re. Re means Mr. Re Tswakadi. Why isn't that? Re Tswakadi, I think you highlighted that you're currently also just built up a broadcasting center for your education. And we, as far back as 2011, we were involved in a project to actually, the government, the ministry started what is called BETV, Botswana Education Television, right? And we are the ones that started that division with the ministry by giving them our technology and even training teachers to become teacher presenters. So those are some of the milestones that we have. Another one that stands out of particular interest is that we've had a 5-year contract with our Defense Force as well in what they call their Defense Command and what's it called? Defense Command and Staff College. So the journey, it doesn't matter where you are in the scale of things, basic education or at tertiary education. We are also with the Defense Force. So I know time is going. We recently also did a big project with what Botswana Communication Regulation Authority, but simply put, I believe you also have what you call the Universal Service and Access Fund. So all I can say, Program Director and MEC and the rest of the team, HODs, is that there are so many stakeholders wanting this success to happen in Eastern Cape particular and as a whole in South Africa and Africa as a whole. And I believe there's a lot of budget beyond the MEC's budget that we can tap into. So I look forward to engaging with yourselves, and I hope that you've appreciated a little bit of what we shared this afternoon. Thank you, Program Director, and apologies for taking time.
Can you please give him another big round of applause? Let me just apologize, Peter, for doing this to you. It's indeed, because we're still listening with interest, but unfortunately we're so much constrained. Can I then call upon the next speaker, Dr. Maxine Schaefer? We were asking for 10 minutes, trying to, oh, sorry, madam, sorry. Saving time from the initially allocated 20 minutes. But it, I'm very sorry for that, Doc. I'm very sorry for that. So can you welcome Dr. Schaefer with a round of applause? Doc, sorry.
It's okay, thank you. Talk about a dramatic entrance, right? Good afternoon, everyone. I have the lucky after lunch slot, so I hope that you have digested your food and you're ready to listen. Thank you very much, MEC, for hosting me today, and I greet the HODs, DDGs, directors, chief directors. Thank you, everyone. So today I represent Click Learning. We put EdTech into quintile 1 to 3 schools in 4 provinces in South Africa. And I will be talking about what it takes to implement educational technology effectively in schools like this in South Africa. And then the thing I'm really, really excited about is to show you when EdTech is implemented successfully, what results can you get? What button do I press? Green? Okay, thank you. So just a bit of background. I won't spend a lot of time here, but why are we even interested in EdTech? Number one, I think just generally we're interested in the 4th Industrial Revolution and upskilling ourselves. But secondly, we really have a learning crisis in South Africa. Even though we are allocating a lot of resources to education, we have a large % of grade 4 children that don't know how to read for meaning in any language that they can read in, grade 5 children who are many years behind where they should be. And then we have a multilingual contribution where children have to learn in at least 2 languages, and from grade 4 need to be quite proficient in English. And so what this means is that weak foundations then contribute to poor learning outcomes later, and is one of the contributing factors to low youth employment. And if we continue on our current trajectory, it will take us 86 years until all grade 4 children can read for meaning. And South Africa was on an amazing upward trend that it would take less time than that, but of course we know that COVID happened. And the result of this is that we have large gaps in achievement in the same grade. So before COVID, in a grade 4 classroom, the lowest performing learner and the highest performing learner were 3.5 grades apart from each other. So a teacher would have to deal with learners at 3.5 different grade levels. And after COVID, it's now increased the gap to 4 grade levels. So effectively dealing with children at a grade 1 to 4 level within a grade 4 classroom. And as other people have indicated, the different speakers, is that we actually need to start looking at personalized instruction. We know that learners are not where they should be. We know even in one grade that learners are at many different levels. And so we need content that is personalized and delivered to the level of the learner rather than their grade or expected level for their age, and also at their pace. And so EdTech is our solution. As the panelists mentioned earlier, this is individualized instruction that is tailored to each learner. It's very engaging with games and rewards, many opportunities for practice, and then, as others have mentioned, really high quality content that really boosts learning. But as everyone has said, hardware is only the first hurdle, okay? It's not good enough to just drop these 90s computers. I've particularly looked for a really bad photo just to remind you how terrible this is. So hardware is the first step, but then you need connectivity, okay? That includes like internet connection, but also electricity. You need really high quality content, enough of it and broad enough. And lastly, you need to increase capacity, both for the learners that will use the program and for the teachers themselves. And so this is where we come in as a non-profit organization. Our mission is to equip learners with foundational literacy, numeracy, and digital skills so that one day they can have more sustainable livelihoods. How do we do this? Firstly, of course, you need the infrastructure. You need the hardware, you need the connectivity, and backup power. Luckily, we haven't had load shedding in a while, so it's off the top of our minds. But then we also equip these schools with essential human resources in the form of lab facilitators. And lastly is the content that everyone has been speaking about. We deploy top-notch digital learning programs in English that supports children's literacy and numeracy development in a personalized way at their level. And of course, we work together with the ecosystem. So we have our computer labs, but supporting these computer labs is what learning happens at the school, which is through the teachers, through the school leadership, and very importantly, nutrition as well, which is then in a broader ecosystem developed by government at various levels with their different policies, and then at a very micro level, the support that learners are getting in their home environment. And so the really exciting results I'm about to show you, I can't unfortunately take credit for everything. It is part of a larger ecosystem, but what I would like you to take away from this is that it is possible to implement EdTech effectively in low resource schools in South Africa, which is where we work. And secondly, when this is done effectively, we do see impacts on student learning. So where do we work? Over 300 schools in 4 provinces, Eastern Cape being one of them, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and the Western Cape. We have over 240,000 learners that work on literacy programs. These are personalized and support learners at their level, and almost 50,000 numeracy learners. And so I'm going to focus on 3 kind of impact skills today. One being alphabetic knowledge, which is this very foundational skill. And if you just look at the shape of that figure, it shows that the more time that learners spend using these personalized softwares, the more of them that meet the benchmark on letter knowledge. And reading comprehension is what we actually care about. And on this growth, we have a longitudinal growth for children from grade 1 to 2. The dark navy line is what I would like you to look at. And you can see that that line is steeper. So children who spent at least 18 hours using these personalized software actually developed their reading comprehension much faster than learners that didn't. And when we look at cross-sectional data, that actually works out to a 20% difference in reading comprehension scores for high users and low users. And we also support numeracy, and we also see this positive trend that with more time using personalized programs, learners are learning more. And we're very excited. We've increased our numeracy usage, and we really expect those bars to be even steeper. And then this is really our exciting project, is the double click in the Eastern Cape, where we are zooming in to better understand what actually works, who does it work for, and in what circumstances. So we are looking at 4 different products. We don't own any of these products. They have been made somewhere else. They have evidence to show that they're effective, and we've piloted them here in South Africa. And we want to see what is the relative impact of using these products as compared to schools that have no EdTech in them. All right, so it's really going to help us see, okay, are some products more effective than others? And then how much more effective are they than no EdTech at all? And now I'm going to show you the big takeaway. I saved my last 2 minutes for this. So I'm going to look at letter knowledge benchmarks, and the highlight that I want to show you here that we are very proud of, and there's a great, I see a celebration because it is the ecosystem, is that in this project, looking at our preliminary data, grade 2s that we measured now in 2024 are 6 months ahead of grade 2s that we measured in 2023. Yeah. Wait till I show you the figure. Okay, so I just want to orient you to the timeline because they were measured in different times of the year. So last year we started in schools in September, and we measured those grade 2s in term 4. Okay, so they'd only been on our program for about 6 weeks. Then this year in April, we measured the new grade 2s in term 2. All right, so that's 6 months difference. So now, if you look at the slide, what you can see is that the blue bar is the same height as the green bar, blue bar being term 2, 2024, green bar being term 4, 2023. And even though there's a 6 month difference, the result is the same, if not better. So that's 6 months of improvement over a very short space of time. And yesterday we just kicked off our next round of assessments in all 240,000, with all 240,000 learners at Click Learning, to see what can happen over a year. And we're very, very excited about these results. So in closing, and Chair, I don't know what my prize is because I did keep it to under 10 minutes. What I would like you to take away from this is we've heard about the Eastern Cape e-learning strategy. We've learned about how the GDE has consolidated their e-learning and what they're doing. And I see a lot of parallel streams. We're all going in the same direction. The point is that hardware is not enough. You need a whole ecosystem of support. And the next biggest constraint, I would say, at the current moment is the content that's available. And here we've used very high quality English applications not developed in South Africa. And it would be really exciting if someone would take up the call and create the content. We have evidence that personalized education technology is effective. And I can't wait to present our next year of data to you. We have just got a working paper available, so if anyone would like me to email that to them, please come and speak to me at any of the breaks. Would love to share this data with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please do give him She deserves it. A very big round of applause. I do not want to think that falling when you are taking up the podium is good. But at least it served us so well this time because you just kept to time. And sorry for that again, Doc. Colleagues, I just had a privilege, invited by curriculum, when we went to Mdantsane. This is real. It's so exciting to see the young ones enjoying working on a computer. So thank you so much, Clicks. We can attest to that. Another big round of applause. As we now call upon the stage Stefan. Stefan, are you here? From ProCare Cyber Security. Thank you so much. Can you please encourage him with a round of applause? Your 10 minutes start now. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, DDG, HOD, Chief Directors, and all members. So, I'm from an organization called Co-Create Technology Solutions. My name is Stefan Gilliland. I am the Head of Information and Cybersecurity. So, I thought I would take you on a quick 10-minute journey, if you'll allow me, to look at some of the digital transformation and what the security implications of these things might be. So, there we go. So, from a journey's perspective, I want to start off by the saying we all know, the calm before the storm. And what this basically means is it's something that's been coming for quite some time. Now, if we all think about back when we were in school, for some of us it's a couple of years ago, for some of us maybe a couple of decades ago, but it's been a much simpler time back then. And if we think about how things have changed and evolved since our time from then to now, from what we initially started using, some of us on these old bad boys, some of us get a bit of PTSD, arthritis in the right hand when they see these kind of things. But how we've quickly changed and evolved into an era of digital transformation in where we have access to specific data now, where students have the ability to have data at the tip of their fingers. We've almost transformed and evolved these students into what we call keyboard warriors. Now, this is all great. It's something that enables the future. It inspires a lot of good things within the organizations and the Department of Education. If we'll move forward, well, hang on, Stefan, we're not ready for this yet. This is definitely not something we're ready for. But we've moved into an era of where individuals can learn and immerse themselves into technology. But unfortunately, with every piece of technology that gets introduced, there's also some risk that gets introduced. And this risk that I'm referring to is cyber attacks. The protection of confidential information throughout the department. And unfortunately, it used to be something in the far distance. We would read about it on the news from the US and from Europe, the attacks that happen in the schools and things like that. But unfortunately, it's getting closer and closer to home. We're basically going into the storm now. And a lot of us would think, okay, but why education? Why the hack of education? Why would somebody want to get into these kind of systems? And unfortunately, there's a lot of merit behind it. First of all, there's a whole bunch of personal information that gets stored and accumulated from student information, teachers, principals. There's a whole bunch of personal information that gets stored that means a lot to someone. We just look at some of the top organizations nowadays. We've moved away from oil and mineral companies to data-driven companies. Data is power. Data is king. Data is money. If we also look at things like, for instance, financial information that gets stored by the specific individuals, and some of the interesting ones, behavioral data and academic data. Behavioral data in the sense of psychological assessments being done on individuals. And if somebody externally can get access to that, it's almost like having the cream of the crop, making their pick for the individuals, basically understanding who can be the future hackers within those specific systems for potential threat actors. Now, if I look at some of the attacks that's currently happening and that's currently in circulation, deepfakes, probably one of the big ones. Data breaches and data mining within organizations. Phishing simulations, I'm sure we've all seen some of those nice little emails and how this has evolved, especially from an AI perspective. Previously, we used to get these almost, let's think about it as a non-thought out email of some prince in Nigeria waiting for his long-lost love in South Africa. You just need to pay a little bit of money. And how that all has evolved now into this is a purchase order or a payment. All you need to do is click on the link to access the payment. How all of this has been digitalized. And this is where AI is starting to make a difference from an attacker's point of view. Now, from a deepfake perspective, this might be a new term for some of you. For some of you, it might be something you've heard of. For those of you who don't know what a deepfake is, it's basically somebody taking a voice recording of someone and pushing it through an algorithm where they can reuse it, and when they're having a conversation, it sounds exactly like that person. The problem is with the times and the applications that's currently available in the market, it has actually fast-tracked and fast-forwarded these kind of things. What I mean by that is previously you used to need about 4 or 5 hours of someone's voice in order to replicate it. Now I need a minute and a half, 90 seconds to replicate your voice. If we look at deepfakes from an image and a video perspective, this used to be 24, 30, 40 hours of footage that was required. Now you need 2.5 minutes, and you can literally replicate someone's face. Think about a video that you've posted maybe on social media, online, what is available on YouTube, and the ramifications that can come from something like this because of how AI is being used in today's world. Now, if we think about data mining and data that gets collected, now, from an organizational perspective, how this basically gets infiltrated, data that gets extracted, and data that can be used at the end of the day for, let's call it the bad side of all the data that is out there. The challenge we're sitting with is how do we protect this data if we're sitting with all this AI that's constantly fighting us? The problem is when you start looking at voice decryptions, and with deep fakes on videos and things like that, all of this is starting to become a bigger and bigger reality. And the problem is we almost kind of fueling this reality by all the social media presences that we've got. All the things that we kept on posting, the things that we kept using, it just keeps introducing higher risks. There was a video developed from overseas where they took a bunch of social media images posted by a couple of parents, and those images were then used to age a kid. I'm sure you've all played with some of these aging apps where you put in your face and you see what you're going to look like when you're 80 or 90 years old. And what they've done was they've actually included a child at the age of 4, aged a little bit older, and started using this for malicious content. The use of this is endless.
Hey Mom, hey Dad. It's me, Ella, a digital version of me. Just a bit older. Amazing what technology can do these days, isn't it? All you need are a couple of pictures, like the ones you share on social media, where they can be taken and used by everybody. I know for you these pictures are just memories, but for others, they are data. And for me, maybe the beginning of a horrible future. A future where my identity can be stolen just like that. Where I can go to prison for things that I would never do. Imagine my credit score being destroyed, Dad. Or my voice copied to scam you, Mom. Mom, I'm in trouble. I need you to send me money, please. And I certainly don't want this. What you share online is like a digital footprint that will follow me around for the rest of my life. I'm telling you this because I know you love me and would never do anything to harm me. So please, Mom, please, Dad, protect my virtual privacy.
Quite scary what AI can do. However, there is light at the end of the storm. And this is where Co-Create comes in to assist. And what we've built is a AI automated vulnerability assessment penetration testing tool that assists with fighting these kind of battles. Almost you can say AI fighting AI. We in the business of not just dropping boxes, but as everybody here reiterated, in the business of selling solutions. Doesn't matter what it is, from incorporating from the hardware side all the way to the SIS and the implementation thereof. With that, I say thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all the speakers. Since this morning, I think that there's a lot of information that has been shared with us. At this point in time, Mamukota, as I invite you to come forward so that you can guide the summit from now onwards. She's going to give us a brief of what needs to happen now. But otherwise, from my side, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and over to you, Ms. Koda.
Thank you so much, Tatumkida. Let us really give him another round of applause, very warm one. He handled this. Myself and Mr. Mulao, Mr. Mulao, can you please rescue him, Shem? He's so tired. Thank you so much. But thank you so much. We really appreciate so if you can scan your programs quickly, you would notice that there are 3 different programs. One mistake that happened there was we sharing that time for those programs. So I came in up here just to explain what will be the proceedings of the session. And I'm sure there will be different interests in what we'll be sharing. There's going to be a shift in terms of how we are seated now. We will try our best. We're supposed to be knocking off here at 25 to 5, 4:30, let's be exact. But now we are running a little bit. I think we are sitting at 3:45. So it means we have about 45 minutes to make magic of that should have been done in 1 hour to manage the next round. The next round should have been the breakaways, which we are still going to be doing, but we will run them concurrently in terms of time. In this main venue, the first group will remain here, and that will be the group that deals with ICT integration. Just to give a brief, who is in that panel? In that panel, you still find our educators, educators that are going to be sharing their best practices, in actual fact, how they've been using some of the products that they are having in their schools. So they would then be remaining here. So if you've got interest in that one, that will be your room 1, this room that we are seated in. Then the next room, it's supposed to be room 2. I think it's across here. It's room B. Is it room B? Where? Auditorium. Are we sure? Is that one? It's auditorium. Okay. The next, just next door is the auditorium. So if you are interested in coding and robotics, then you would get there. We are supposed then to have coding and robotics presentations on the other side. Then room 3, just one. Across, okay, across is going to be room 3. That one would be a platform that is sharing different digital platforms. So we'll have a Vodacom, but I think we are not going to have light bulb there because all light bulb, I'm not sure if that link was created or what. They requested to be connected virtually, but the communication was done a little bit late then. But we will start there with Mr. Mdanyane, who's going to be sharing, that's WUSU, that's a higher education institution, and then followed by Vodacom. And then we will also have in there, it's about learner tracking. Usisi, forgot if she's still in the room. I just forgot about just the name, I think it's in the other phone, apologies for that. So we'll have 3 there that are taking place. But can they please share the time allocation that we have? So we have people that we have allocated in this room. I think it's going to be Umamu Pikicha, who is an e-learning advisor, who's going to be running that session together with Sisno Mlizo. So they're both going to be here, so managing that one. Then in another room, Mr. Mfamana and Mr. Mjamba. And then on the other side is going to be, remind me again, Mr. Skodi for the digital platforms is going to be leading that one. So can we then, from this session, now we're not going to come back then after that. So we'll then see one another tomorrow morning. So when you are in those breakaway rooms, can we then see to it that at least if you can release everyone, maybe we push it a bit to 4:45, so that those people that know that they have to be part of the program this evening, especially our esteemed guests, the MSc and the HOD and all our speakers that are from industry in particular. So they are supposed then to be joining then the session in the evening. Other than that, colleagues, thank you so much. So you are free then just to quickly choose where you want to remain. I don't know if everyone wants to remain here, but I've given you kind of a pointers to say. Maybe learners will be more interested in coding and robotics, just to play around a bit there and see. So it would be great to have them there on the coding and robotics side. All right, thank you so much. Let's get that.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much.